welcome back to the channel. As promised, coming back at you with another video. We are going to install the Qx7s Crossfire mod on the Qx7. So without further ado, we're going to get this started. Alright, first thing you want to do is protect your gimbals. We don't want to smash them against the table, and the S model comes with these fancy little gimbal protectors. If you don't have that, you can set something and prop it up on something. That way you're not pressing straight down on the gimbals. But once you have those protected, you can flip it over. And I've already got battery removed, screws are all out, back trays off. That way I'm ready to go with this. That way everybody can see. Alright, first thing you want to do after you get all this stuff taken out, there's 4 screws. Make sure you watch your pins. We don't want to mess those up. And just, the whole back shell just comes right off after that. Nothing there, nothing's connected to it, so you don't have to worry about that. You just set it off to the side. And then this is what you're greeted with. Okay, so, let me adjust my camera over here. What we're going to be working on is going to be this right here. This resistor, we're going to solder wires to either side of it. One to the signal port, to the S port, and then there's another one that I have not taken this board off yet, but once I do, there's 8 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws. You have to pop your haptic feedback off and the whole board will flip over. So once I get to that point, that's when I'll take this and I'll flip it, but I'm not going to do that until I need to. But now that I think about it, I think that's probably one of the first things I want to do, because I have to take off another one of them little transistors. So without further ado, let me look for some pliers. There we go. Bust out some pliers so I can do this. And this, I'm going to give fair warning, is probably going to be a very long video, because I'm going to sit here and work on this without any cuts, hopefully. If there are any cuts, it'll probably be my kids. It is almost time for them to get home from school, so if anything, I'll get right back to it after I settle them in and get them situated. But what you want to do is you want to come in here and start taking this apart. Take your stuff, your screws, and set them to the side. And you want to watch out, because there's a, right here on the S model, this is your wireless trainer, your Bluetooth wireless trainers right here. And there's the antenna wire runs down and underneath the board. So you have to be very careful you don't damage any of that, or you lose your trainer mode for this. Then you have to use the headphone port up on the top. Or not headphone port, one of the jack ports. So I know this is going to take forever, but I'm going to do this real time so you guys can see exactly how long it'll actually take to do this. And now that I think about it, I might come right back to this, because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I've seen how to do the mod, but I do not have exactly which wires go where from what parts. So I'll probably take as soon as I get this board undone, I'll probably cut away and then cut back with some printed instructions. That way I have something to go by and I don't screw this up. But it's not hard. It's as simple as step by step. I guess I can get that camera a different angle for you guys, so they're not sitting there staring at the back side of my hand while I'm doing this. And it's just as simple as taking screws out. Now what I will do when I do cut back, I'll probably move and reposition my camera. That way it's not sky high above everything. You guys can get down into it and see what I'm doing. But that is all the screws out. You want to come in here. Once all the screws are out, the next step is to come in. You're going to pop your haptic feedback out, and it's just as simple as that. Very lightly, and he pops out. And you just got to be careful because he's soldered on. There's no connector or nothing. It's just soldered straight onto the board. And there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can disconnect all these different plugs and ports. I'm not going to do that. I've seen that you don't have to, so I'm going to attempt to do it without doing that. And first problem, it doesn't want to come out. So I'm going to figure out how to, okay, that's what it is. So you'll see these two and these two on the ends are blue on the inside. They're actually slotted through the board itself, as where the other holes are not. They're just surface mounts. So you want to get in here and you just want to pry it up ever so slightly, and it'll start coming up on its own. I could probably find something a little bit better than a screwdriver, but it's about all I have right on hand at this moment that I can grab. So that side's up. And over here, that side's up. Something's sticking right in this area here. All the other ones I've ever seen, they just flip right up, but for some reason, this one does not want to flip. Another little note, if it doesn't want to move, don't force it. Easiest way to break something. So I honestly don't know what it is. Oh, I know what it is. I just remembered. Dummy me. All right. So before you can pull the board out, one side note. Your buttons come out. You have to pop your dial. And it's just as simple as getting underneath it, wiggling it around, and it will pop right off. It's simple as that. And it slots in on its own, so no need to be afraid of it. It does pull right out. Those are my gimbal protectors. So now it should, in theory, come right out. Just like that. And you can see the antenna runs all the way over, and it's actually positioned underneath here is where it's positioned at, and it's soldered. It's stuck down to it. There's the antennas right underneath there, and it's like they taped it down is what it looks like. So if you just easily pull her up, see if I can show you all this. There's the end of the antenna, and that's the antenna itself for the Bluetooth module that is inside here. If you easily get it, you can work it up ever so slowly. Do not tear it. Do not yank it, pull it. The best thing I've found is get something underneath it and twist it backwards, and it'll actually roll itself right up underneath it and loosen it up to where it comes right off. And once you get it, Bob's your uncle, and there she is. Just like that. The antenna's out now. So that's a neat little trick, because all the other ones I've seen this done on don't have that. So you're going to take your board and you're going to roll it over. You got to be very careful because there's a ribbon cable underneath all the black cables here that connects to your LCD. No, it connects the main board to the LCD. So you got to be very careful when you roll it that it's not pulling too hard. Because if it it does, it'll pull the cable out and you won't have an LCD monitor. Alright, now that I have it flipped over, I'll zoom in for you guys. And this is the little transistor that we're going to be pulling out. Is this one right here, Q400. That little guy right there is what we're taking out. So, I'm going to cut away. I'm going to get my soldering iron warmed up. I'm going to print out the blueprints so I do know what I'm doing. And I know exactly which pinouts they are. Because there's 3 pinouts on this one. And I believe it's this one here. I'm not 100% sure. But I want to make sure I do this right the first time and not screw everything up. So I will be right back with you guys. Just give me 1 second. All right, guys, right back at you. Rearranged my camera. Got a thing printed out. So I know exactly where everything goes on this. So this is actually I think TBS did this one. And I kind of took it and shrunk it down so my printer would print it right. So we will see. This should match up exactly. Oh, if I put it that way, it will. So the way the picture shows it on here is that with it stuck on like this, it tells you exactly where it goes. But if you stick it this way, you got no clue where it goes. It's actually reversed, so it'll be ground 3.3 in and out is what it'll do. So I have some nice thick double stick tape. I'm gonna stick it down this way so I can follow the exact pin out, because I'm anal about my wiring, and with it going in this way, the way they have it set up, the wiring should come out really nice that way. So without further ado, I need to, let's see, first things first, I am going to actually take and start setting up everything to get this going. I've got some double stick tape that I'm going to use to hold this guy down and get wires stuck to it. And I got plenty of double stick tape. I don't have any of that fancy stick stuff that some people use. And I'm gonna go through my box of goodies, because I've got a nice big old box of goodies that I have that are all leftover parts. And I'm going to find 4 wires that are different color if possible. Imagine that. I've got no clue what this come out of. It was either for a camera setup, or it was for a VTX or something. I got no clue what it went to. But this is what we're going to use. And I'm going to take, I'm going to adjust my camera so you guys can see this a little bit better, so it's further away. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the ends off. I'm going to leave this full length, and that way I can cut it down as I'm going. I don't believe I have my cutters out here. I will be right back. Alright, I'm back at it. It's the only bad thing about not having a workspace to do this, and I'm just using my kitchen table, because I'm a dad and I have a crap ton of stuff. So let me heat my soldering iron up, and for this I'll be using my new TS100. We'll see how good it does. So we'll start preparing wires and getting things ready in that nature. So we don't need the end anymore, that can go bye-bye. And then over here, we can cut off all these little ends, because we won't need them. All right. That can go in the trash, and those can go in the trash. That is one benefit of working out here, though. Got the trash can right behind me. All right, now you don't want a lot of wire, but at the same time, I can take and just trim the wire back as needed. And this is not silicone wire, which I hate this stuff. It melts back every time I try to use on it, and it's just annoying as all get out. So you guys will get to see me do all this stuff in real time as I'm working on it. So I'm no professional. I do have an electronics background. I'm used to soldering. I'm used to doing all this kind of stuff, but working on things like this is new to me. I'm used to building circuits, not taking pieces out of circuits and redoing circuits. So you guys can see what it's like for a real world person that has no knowledge of working on this kind of stuff, how long it would actually take. So I'm just preparing all my wires right now. There we go. And when you have them, I twist them a little bit, keep them from fraying when I add stuff to them. And the nice thing about working with double-sided tape on the table like this is it's easy to get things to stick and work with versus trying to fight with things. Now eventually I'll get me a silicone mat and all that fancy stuff, but this works just the same and just as good. That's what it was, blue tack. I know a lot of guys use that to hold things down when they're soldering and working on stuff, but I don't have any of that. Don't know where to get it except for offline, so I'm just kind of doing it as I go kind of thing, learning as we go. All right. So I'm prepping my tip here, getting it all soldered up. Making sure it's going to work right. Pretty. Just like it's supposed to. I'm actually going to increase the temperature just a little bit. I'll go to 350. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to do a little solder on your tip. And just get it onto the wire. And it's hard for me to do it like this because I'm sitting there trying to keep from burning the table. Usually when I do this kind of thing, it's kind of in the air and it's not so close to the table. And as you can see, as I'm touching it, it's pulling it in and burning back the coating and everything, so makes it fun to work with. Not really, but we'll get her done. So let's see. That one looks good. Flipping. That one looks good. Yep, all of them look good. Alright, so from here, I'm going to trim these back just a little bit because these are way long. So we'll get them trimmed and ready to go. The black one, that's what I was missing. Oh, wrong side. Did I mention how much I really hate this wire? Alright, so now I'm gonna get this stuck down. Get it in and get it situated so you guys can see. So come in and heat up what I want to transfer to. This is fun. I love doing this kind of work. All right. All right, so what we're gonna do is 3.3 volts is gonna come off this one. Let me turn this around now. Be very careful because it is kind of warm. Woo, hot. All right, so we're gonna go from the top to the bottom, starting with ground. Ground, 3.3 volts. Then we're gonna go, which one is signal out's gotta go to the front of the board, so we'll do yellow wire for signal out, brown for signal in. All right, signal in. And I gotta tell you, so far, I am loving this soldering iron. Very nice. And then signal out. I'm trying to bend them to where I can get clearance because it's bent funny. It's sitting funny on this double-sided tape. There we go. All right, let's take a look at it now. Looks good. Almost like it come out of the factory like that. You can see some of the solder come out the other side. And that's what makes your joint strong, is when the solder comes through, it doesn't necessarily have to be on one side. But you put too much and it starts flowing out everywhere. So be mindful how much you put on there and all that good stuff. So now I'm going to tear off another piece. Actually, I could probably reuse this and cut it down to what I need, because I don't need a great big piece now. I know I'm probably boring everybody, but I'm trying to do this best I can and make it look pretty and not tear anything up on this one. Alright, so what I'm doing is with the double-sided tape, since I'm putting this side down, I'm going to build like a little wall around this guy. Put another piece there. Like this. And then I got a bigger piece. Once I get him covered, I'll get another piece. That one's kind of getting all boogered up. And of course, I don't have my X-Acto over here to cut this, so use my pocket knife. And this is actually servo tape is what I use it. It's high strength servo tape. And this stuff is awesome. I used to race carpet cars back in the day, and this is what I would use for all my servos, and it would not come off for anything. I mean, this stuff is awesome. And so far, everything that I use with it stays where I put it. All right. So once I got that on there like that, I'll take this other piece and put on it this way. That way it has a little bit more cushioning on that little diode back there, transistor, whatever the heck it is. I can't remember what it's called. And if I really wanted to, I could come in here and trim some of this down. cut it back and make it to where it's not going to overhang too much. Because I did get a big glob of it on there. It's almost the thickness of the board now, so I will set some of this stuff to the side. Get the radio back in view and peel the backing off the double side tape. And if I can get it off of me, there we go. You want to put it as far over as you can on this side. You know what? I don't like the way that looks. So I'm going to redo it and put just one piece, not two. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Throwing things around. Come on now. There we go. Back into this double-sided tape does not want to come off. Alright, so now I just put a single layer. It ain't going to go nowhere. And if it does, it's stuck down for the most part. Alright, I'm still not liking that. I'm just going to flip it. Say the heck with it. Put it down this way. Just got to remember which is which. This makes it a little bit easier, and it gives you a flat surface to squish it down to. And with having the wires on the back, it makes it a little bit nicer of a finish. Alright, so on to this part. This is going to be the fun part. So let's readjust the camera so you can watch this. This is going to be fun. Alright, let's see. So it's going to be that little spot there. Now, the way I'm going to attempt to do this, I've heard of people just taking and breaking it off. But what I'm going to try to do is grab it, put pressure against it, and see if I can lift it off the board without lifting anything else off. Now this is going to be fast, so see how quick we can get it off of there. I'll bump my power all the way up now to 400C. This should be relatively easy. And if you screw it up, you can always buy a new board, unfortunately. Alright, so I'm going to try this other little trick. I'm going to add just a dab of solder on the tip of my iron, which most everybody will tell you to do that anyway. I was trying to keep from making too big of a mess if I touch stuff. Alright, let's try it again. Be very careful of all the surface mount stuff on here. This is proving to be a little bit more difficult than what I anticipated. So I was kind of hoping this would come off a lot easier. By looking at it, it looks like it's getting the solder to melt just a little bit, but not a whole lot. So I'll try this again real quick. A little bit of solder on the end. It's getting warm, but it's not coming off like I want. Alright, so that's not working too well. So what I'll do is I saw it lift or somewhat try to move. I'll just break it. It's about the easiest way to do it. Just be very careful, because this stuff still does connect to the board. Just go very, very slowly, and it'll slowly start peeling off. And it did not take much pressure just to squeeze it and pop it. So once you get it, you just kind of wiggle it around. Don't just go pulling on it, because it'll pull it right out. You end up tearing something up. Alright, so as you can see, it is now off. So I can go in and start working on it. So let's see, that's out now. That is going to be the out, which is on the bottom, which is the yellow wire. Alright, so I want that to loop around. No. Sorry guys, I'm trying to figure out how I want my wires to run. I think I'm gonna start on the front side and then work my way around to that side. So I'll try to position this back into the holes. Make sure I'm not smashing anything. Put it back down. All right. So now that I have it back together this way, I'll readjust you so you're up over it. All right. Let's see. We need in, which is brown. It's going to go to the S port here. So we'll do it like this. So black is going to go to ground over here on that side. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll cut it about there. Red's gonna go to the other side, that's 3.3 volts. So it's gonna go there. Brown is going to be in, which is going to go down to the S port here. So we'll cut that one about there. All right, and then yellow gets run around to the other side we'll probably run it down and around somewhere where there's enough room for it. So let's see. First one we're going to start with will be black. This is always fun stuff trying to get in here. Alright, I'm going to try a different camera angle. See if I can get it up like this so I can get underneath it a little bit easier and just zoom in. It's always fun trying to find different camera angles to get to make it where it's easy to see. So you gotta love crappy wire that is not silicone, because you can just melt this stuff back. Heat it up enough and it basically peels off. I know I'll probably hear everybody in the background, oh, don't do it like that. Well, it's my radio. I'll eventually do it the way I want. You guys can do it your own ways. Alright, let's see. Now, one thing I do highly recommend is not soldering directly over your device, because if you get splatter, it will fall down and you'll get a solder joint that you do not want. Which, when that happens, you're crap out of luck, because you just made a solder bridge that will not be good. Alright. There's that one. So then I'll take and snip some of that off. You know what? I'm gonna do it like this. I'll peel this little bad guy off of here. Make it a little bit easier so I'm not working on top of that. That makes me so nervous doing that. Alright. Now that I have it off of there, I can snip it a little bit. Because you don't need much. Just enough for it to grab. And that's the whole reason why you cut a little bit extra wire, so it's a little bit easier to just trim it back. Alright. So now I'll go ahead and just solder these up. Do it the easy way with them already out. Alrighty. Now it's ready to go back in. That easy, that simple, that fast. Should have done that before I pulled it out or put it in there like a dummy. I didn't do that. I'm just trimming these back a little bit now. All right. Back at it. Let's take this little guy back on here. And again, this is all my preference, how I wanted to do this. So, as you can see, I think that's going to be a little short, but we will make do. Before I get in here, I want to take, with a clean solder tip, and add a little bit of solder to this. this whole work area around so I can actually get to it. Move the wires over some. And they use lead-free solder on this stuff, so it's going to take it a minute to warm up. Alright, that's enough on that side. Alright, now we're going to go to the other side. And I'm not sure if the ground and 3.3 volts are the same as those little dots, so I'm trying to steer clear of them. So I'm not 100% sure, and I've not seen anything that actually says that they are or not. So I'm just kind of doing what my little paper says, and I'm doing on the edges of the capacitor here. Alrighty, got enough there. And that's actually standing up off of it, so it will be kind of neat. It's just kind of floating there. So first one's gonna go in, it's gonna ground. Whoa. Y'all are way out of frame on that one. Alright, so I think I found out what I did. When I stuck this back on here, I put it too far back, is what I did. I'll stick it there. And now, my ground reaches. Imagine that. It's like a miracle. Alright, so I'm gonna run my temperature up so I can get in and out really fast. Alright, let's go. We're in and out. Let's see. That is remarkably really good. It's on there. Where are we at? There we are. That's soldered to one side of the capacitor. Now for the positive. Going to the other side. So I'm gonna change up. I'm gonna go from this side, get it the other way. Instead of trying to loop over what I'm doing, I'll bring it in that way, make it easier on me. In and out, just like that. Pretty. All right. Next spot to get is going to be the S port. Just going to be down here, like that. Well, I say like that, and your guys are nowhere near it. All right, so S port's gonna come all the way down into here, like that. So, and just get soldered straight on. So what I'll do is I'll add some solder to the port itself here, Warm it up a little bit. Wait for the solder to flow to it. Alright. You gotta be pretty quick with that one, because I don't know if you guys noticed it, but I saw it. The whole pin started moving on me. So, be in and out with them. Because if not, you're gonna wind up sticking it to it, and it's gonna come out, and then you're gonna have even bigger troubles. Which, I mean, it's not gonna be too bad, too hard to fix on that one. It's just simple servo connectors, but could be worse. Alright, get them down in there. You're gonna be in and out. Get off. Dang it. So I completely just destroyed that wire. Not too bad though. He's fixable. So let's see. I didn't want to do that, but I pulled him, took him off because I completely boogered the other end up really, really bad. So I'm going to get a new wire and put it on and start over and do it this way. So you just give me 1 second and I'll get this bad boy all put together. Okay, there's one side. I gotta cut them down now. Alright. Didn't want to do it this way, but I guess I am. Easy repair. Simple as that. And then I'm going to, I'll just leave this wire alone. I'm not too worried about them. Makes it a little bit easier. Throw some solder on this guy here. Oh man, this is turning out to be a chore. Alright. Clean the solder off the tip. Get back to her. Trim this one up. Alright. Try this again. Version 2. Alright. Heads down. Now we can bring this one in. We'll put it straight onto the S port. So from here, I'll just hold it down ever so lightly and just touch it with the solder. And it's stuck now, just like it's supposed to. All right. Now for the next part, we're gonna flip the board over and go from the other side and get the last piece to the puzzle. And we gotta figure out how we're gonna route the wire first, I guess. Because I do believe there's a gap. Yep, there's gonna be a gap once you get it in. You can see there's gonna be a gap around the board. So we'll flip it over. And this one's gonna go to that right there, a little bitty speck. We're gonna go to right there, that one little spot on the Q400 pad. So let's see if I can do this without destroying everything. Now I did leave this one long just because it does wrap all the way around. And I've not added any solder to this yet. So I'm gonna add some solder to it. This is another one you gotta be really, really careful with because it's a very, very small spot. So I'll just do a little dab. Just freshen her up a little bit. All right. Put some solder on the wire now. Well, thought I had enough solder on the iron. I guess I didn't. Put some solder on there. Trim it off. Alright. This one you don't want too much wire hanging over because it's a very small spot. So let's see if I can get her in there. Just gonna get soldered on right there. See if I can come in just right and get it in there. First try. Look at there, first try.
How do you do that?
So now you're gonna take and I'm gonna let my iron cool down because that bad boy's burning my hand every time I get near it. So from here, zoom back out, I'm going to flip the board back around and get it somewhat positioned where it's supposed to go. And you gotta watch, the wires are getting hung up here. That's what's sticking, okay. Board should go right back in where it goes. Slot everything in really nice and neat. There we go. Haptic feedback's back in. And so now all I'm gonna do is plug the battery up and make sure it works. Make sure nothing goes kaboom. I'll put one little screw in to hold the board. That way nothing flips over. All right. So let's see. Let's plug her in. Now I don't have the Crossfire system just yet, but this is supposed to make it to where it does work. So we will flip her over.
Welcome to OpenTX.
And it still fires up. Cool.
Throttle warning.
Alright, let's see.
Oh yeah, that was the right switch. Self-level mode.
So let's see. Sorry about the noise. My kids finally decided to show up and they're being loud.
Hey, it's not my fault my phone did that.
So let's see. I don't think this will actually do anything if I turn it on. Let's see, I don't know. Oh no, that's right. I remember now. Huh, I gotta go the other way. Never mind. So, I'm playing dumb all of a sudden. And we shall see. Don't know. I'll get back to you with another video. There we go. Now I remember how to do it. So, let's see. No, it's not in that one. I know where it's at now. Kind of. So, it's working. Nothing's messing up so far on this. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to get back with another video and see if it will completely work, but that is pretty much the gist of it. Now it's just putting everything back together. So I didn't kill anything. It does work. So now, let's see if I can get my... I'm not even going to do it. It's going to be a pain in the butt to do that. I'll do it this way. Now I can come back in here and start taking things and putting it back together. First thing first, I got to put the Bluetooth antenna back in. After I get these stubborn little screws out. All right, now haptic feedback pops out, pop the board out, and the antenna goes back in to where it was. If I can do it without tearing everything up. And it goes right down inside there. Got it. And it's still sticky, so it'll stick right back down, right like it was supposed to. So now, I'll route the antenna back the way they had it, back up this way. There we go. Well, I can get it in there, it's just being stubborn. Really, really stubborn. This is, man, this little antenna's whooping my butt. Get in there. There we go. Got it. So make sure all your wires and cables are pulled up so you're not squishing anything. And then you can come in here and just easily push down everything so it reseats. And your wire you have, you can just push it down inside because it is so long. I left it like that. I didn't want to cut it and it mess up because I don't have another wire that long. I do, but it won't be the same color. And I'll wind up having to do like I did with the brown one and make it all boogered up. But that's what it looks like once you get it wired in. That's not the prettiest I can do, but having to flip it that way, it kind of made the wires run funny, because if not, the yellow would have went straight down and around. The brown could have just ran straight over. It'd have been a little bit different. But now, we'll put all the screws back in. And this is all, like I said, real time, so you can actually see how long it takes to do this for the average Joe. Put these back on here so I don't destroy my gimbals. Alright, there we go. Now I can put pressure down on it when I'm screwing these in. My silly little screwdriver's not magnetic, so this makes it even funner. Just tighten them down as you go. That one's tight. Put the haptic feedback where it goes. I guess it sits like that, maybe. Yeah, I guess so. Tight. Yep, he's tight. Run this one down. This is a lot more, it's a lot easier than what most people would think it would be to do this. I mean, it took me, looking at my clock right now, it's 47 minutes on this one, and I had, I think, 5 or 10, 20 minutes on the other one, so it took me about an hour to do this total. And that's from start to finish, and I'll stop the video when I get the shell back together, but not screwed together, so you get an idea of how long it actually takes. That way, those that are timing can actually look at it and say, okay, that's where he stopped at, and that's where he started at. But that's the next one, and the last screw for the back right here, and we can put the shell on. Alright. And you don't want to over tighten these, you'll wind up stripping these little screws and stripping out the hole that they're in and all that good stuff. So now the back shell and the moment of truth, because this is where you have to watch what you're doing when you put these things on there, because your slot on the back has to line up with where you just put that in at. So hopefully, watch where your pins are so you can line all that up. Slide it back down. And look at there, Bob's your uncle. And it's recessed enough to where the battery won't hit it. That's why I went ahead and changed it back to the single layer instead of the double layer, double side tape. That way it wouldn't interfere with it. So now I just drop my screws in where they go. And we should be almost done. Alright. Oh, yeah, that's not good. You don't want that down in there. It'll really mess things up. Slot all these little booger eaters in there. Make sure there's nothing holding it up, and then tighten your screws down. And this one. I always do a cross pattern, that way there's no real stress on the whole shell when you're tightening it down. And these don't have to be super tight either, because there's not really any forces acting on it to make it pop apart, so you don't have to do He-Man Woman Hater Strong or nothing like that. You can just do it tight enough to where they hold. And this one here is a butt. Always has been. Since the day I got it, this is always the hard one. There we go. Go back around and check them. And then, there you go. You're done. Crossfire mod done. Make sure it's stuck down. And then, I can clip on the back. And there it is. Battery ran away. It grew legs. Drop the battery in. Close that up. Flip her over. And if you look, the button has a notch on one side, and you'll see there's one side on there that has that piece missing, and it just slots right on. It only goes on one way. Push him on, and there you go.
Welcome to OpenTX.
That easy.
Throttle warning. Oh yeah, that was the right switch. Self-level mode.
Alright. Oop. See if I can find the right screen now. Alright, I know he's around here somewhere. Okay, so it's not.
Welcome to OpenTX.
I'm playing really dumb here. It'll take me a minute and I'll eventually find it.
Oh yeah, that was the right switch. Self-level mode.
Let's see. There we go. Oh. Well, son of a monkey's uncle. There. Now I remember how to do it. Duh. Man. You can tell it's been a while since I messed with this radio. So, you can see Crossfire. Crossfire Lula. Alright. So, now we know that I don't know how to do stuff. So now you can see it's waiting for Crossfire. And I don't have a Crossfire, so it won't do anything. So that's the only thing, because I don't have any of that stuff yet. So once I get it, I'll be able to make another video to show everybody all that good stuff, that it does work. So till then, it's working. Keep them in the air. Catch you on the next one. Have a good one.